Hello? Oh, I think we can hear me now. Hello? Are we good? Sorry. I don't know why shit gets fucked up. How is everybody? What's up? It is very hot in my room. I need to open the window. For fuck's sakes, the shit. Fucking all over my room. God damn it. I got shit all over my room. Ugh. Alright, hair. Oh my god, hair is awful. What's up, everybody? How you doing? How's it going, everybody? My hair is awful. We are ready, I promise. Wow, look at all you people in here. Hello, Imaginista, one of our beautiful moderators. Cassie's here, another one of our beautiful moderators. Hello, Renaissance Fairy. Good to see you and have you lurking. Hello, Heretical Response. Good to see you. Spectral Chord, hello. Good to see everybody here today. We're gonna have a light stream today. It's not gonna be too heavy. It's kind of gonna be more just kind of poking fun and having fun. In case you didn't realize, Republicans recently, there's just like this mass movement of people and Democratic politicians who are starting to label Republicans as just weird. Like, they're just weird. And, shockingly, but kind of not shockingly, it's catching on. Like, so hot and heavy. Like, it's kind of destroying them. Like, to be fair, like, it's working a lot. And we're going to kind of dive into why, in addition to just, like, having fun with it and just looking at, like, why Republicans are weird. So thank you for coming today. Gonna be having a little fun. It's like, today is my weekend. Like, normally Friday, you know, like Friday night. Like, today is my Friday night because after this live stream, I'm like, this is vacation mode for me. We don't need music anymore. Oh my god, that's so intense. Anyway, so, like, yeah, it's my weekend right now. I know it's a Wednesday, but it's my weekend because, like, I'm officially on, I'm on summer vacation because I start school here, like, really soon at the end of the month. Well, technically it's, okay, so it's July 31st. Tomorrow is August 1st. So yeah, like, at the end of the month, let's say it's August right now because we're pretty much there. At the end of this month, I'm going to be starting school. So I'm in, like, relax mode, party mode, especially today. I'm going to be having Cassie, our beautiful moderator, is going to fly out and come stay with me. And we're going to go camping. We're going to have some fun. We're going to relax. I don't know if you're interested in us, like, just recording some shenanigans and just, like, compiling, like, a short video and, like, seeing how that looks. Maybe you would like to see me hang out with one of my moderators, go camping and all that stuff. Let me know. But yeah, it's like vacation. It's like super extra vacation time for me. It is my summer vacation, but I'm also going on vacation, like, as of now. So it's like, I'm kind of in, like, yesterday I had to work and I was already over it. Have you ever done that? Have you ever planned a vacation and then your last day of work before you go on the vacation, you're totally checked out and clocked out already? Like, you're just done. Why is my thing so dark? My camera is dark. Girl! Try and help that just a little bit. There we go. That helps. Okay. It's not... It was like making some weird things on my face. Cassie says it's my first vacation in like a year. Me and Cassie haven't seen each other for... I think exactly a year. Because I think it was I think it was July last year that I flew over to Salt Lake City and stayed with Cassie. Which I did not document at all because I just wanted to get away. But, yeah, it's our first vacation of this year. And we're going to make the most of it. It's going to be so fun. You're going to have so much fun. I'm joking. Let's see what's going on. Before we get, we're just hanging out just a little bit. Hello, Layla Schmidt. Good to see you. The god Brahma and me acknowledge the. I don't know anything about that, but it sounds nice. Thank you. I'm not spiritual like that. So yeah. Oh, one thing. I guess, like, as of like a few hours ago, Donald Trump had a very bad, like, experience. I guess it's some sort of like, it's like black journalist convention or something. I briefly saw people like freaking out on Twitter about what Trump like said or did. And then like, I'm like, what is going on here? And then I saw like 2 seconds of like the video, and I'm like, I have to X this out. I have to close it and I have to stay away because I want to save my raw, like, baby Jesus response to this. So it has been so hard for the last, like, I want to say like 3 or 4 hours, completely avoiding what Donald Trump did today and said today. That is like so crazy. I'm excited to see what it said. Even my friend came home. My friend that I live with came home, and he was like, "You would not believe what Trump did today." And I'm like, shh, don't tell me, because I need to like raw react to it. Like, it's so, some of this stuff is really hard. Like when you're, especially now that we're in election season, it's really hard to avoid and withhold from like viewing some of this stuff to like save it for the raw reaction later. So I'm finding a little bit of a hard balance because I would like to watch this for the first time in front of you all so that you get my raw reaction. At the same time, it's like, I gotta kind of like see, you know, if we should cover it or not, you know? So that's going to be the first thing we watch here in a minute. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes for everybody to get in. I hope you're having a beautiful week, by the way. Like I said, it's Wednesday, but it's like my vacation weekend because Cassie's going to be here technically Friday, but tomorrow I have to do a lot of preparation in my house. Not a lot, actually. Honestly, I have to do a lot of like cleaning and stuff for my house. I mean, Cassie deserves to see a clean house. Not that my house is shitty. Cassie deserves to see a clean house, of course. But I have like an apartment inspection tomorrow. Not an apartment, sorry. I live in a condo. So I have an inspection tomorrow from my property management. They just want to come in here and see that, you know, I'm not a hoarder. And I don't have 5 cats. And that the plumbing works. Cassie expects perfection. I know it. Cassie's going to run in here and immediately take her finger and run it along my baseboards on my floors and be like, there is dust here. Despicable. I'm leaving. She's going to white glove test my home. I know it. My hair is so goofy. I keep complaining about my hair. I'm going to be getting a haircut after this vacation and before school starts, so like within the next 3 weeks, but it's already at a length and a place where like it doesn't do anything except for annoy the fuck out of me. Trump is the Antichrist. Yeah, symbolically, sure. Let's see. Please like the live stream if you're in here. That helps. cares who is president. You should very much care who is the president. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to, like, respectfully, you should care who's president. The government does rule your life. Whether you think it does or not, whether it seems indirect or not, it is running your life and ruining your life. There is a choose. You need to choose. It's people who are passive and think, I'm not going to vote, I'm not going to participate, which is exactly why we have corrupt people in power. So I respectfully disagree. Absolutely, you should care who the president is. If you don't, you're not living on the same planet and plane as us, and I don't know, kindly step into the hole. No offense. Hi, TaylorMade. Good to see you. You shaved your head? I shaved my head once in my early 20s, and it was actually really cool. I got a lot of compliments, and I don't know if they were just trying to make me feel better. They're like, you have a nice shaped skull. I'm like, okay. But I love the feel of a shaved head. Like, it was, like, so fuzzy. It was pretty cool. All right, are we ready to get going? I gotta pee first already. Please like the live stream. We're gonna start with what Trump said today. I have not seen it yet. Do what makes it... Look, voting isn't about what makes you feel good. It's about participating and being active in what's going on in reality. It's not about feeling better. It's and honestly, like, well, never mind. I don't care to, like, get into that. Stay here. I gotta pee real quick. Already, I know. Okay, stay here. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. What's going on here? What happened with the... The National Association of Black Journalists? And they invited Trump on? You did get here just in time, Mark. Thank you so much for coming. I was explaining to everybody, I saw something crazy was going on with Trump today, and I have purposefully been avoiding it. And I'm really anxious to get down to, like, what's going on right now. So, let's go. Sorry. Is this music copyrighted? Yo. Do the funky chicken. I love funk. Do the funky chicken, 'cause I like funk. 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 Do the funky chicken, 'cause I like funk. This is a lot of National Association of Black Journalists.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 49th Annual National Association of Black Journalists Convention and Career Fair. We are about to begin a conversation with former President Donald Trump. We ask that the...
Okay, well, there's your first mistake. Expecting a conversation out of Donald Trump. No offense. I mean, it's very justified to, like, it'd be like, have a running president or somebody who's running for president, like, come onto your, like, show and talk in your, like, group and stuff. But, like, already I'm like, what'd you expect? I don't know.
Professionalism that we all bring to our newsrooms and workplaces every day is the same professionalism that is maintained in this arena. Please welcome to the stage, Trump? ABC News senior congressional correspondent.
NABG stands for National Association of Black Journalists.
Rachel Scott.
Was that their idea of black music? It was comforting, but a strange... No, it's not a strange selection. That was funk. Funk is totally black music. Are you kidding me? Funk and disco? Like, that, like, funk is black music. Like, that's totally appropriate. Are you... Like, absolutely. Come on. Isley Brothers? Come on, where are you at?
Semaphore political reporter Kadia Goba. And anchor of the Faulkner Focus and co-host of Outnumbered on Fox News, Harris Faulkner.
Black music is the origin of most music today. That's true, though. There's a ton of, like, black music that was appropriated, but, like, funk music and disco, absolutely. Disco, I think, branched out to, like, white people more, but funk itself is, like, it's the soul of black people. A lot of funk music, I think, was born out of the civil rights era, and a lot of it was like the punk music of the time. You know what I mean? Like, there's major history. Disco is also punk. I've always wanted to do actually, disco music is metal. I know there's this weird thing, this fight between metal music and disco music, but disco is actually more metal than metal. And I would like to explain that at some point. Play that funky music, white boy. I could go on a huge tangent right now about disco music and how it is like hardcore punk rock and metal. But, I can't get off on that right now.
We are about to begin a conversation with former President Donald Trump. We ask that the professionalism that we all...
There's no closed captions on this, by the way. I'm sorry. So you gotta listen close.
...bring to our newsrooms and workplaces every day is the same professionalism that is maintained in this arena. Please welcome to the stage, ABC News senior congressional correspondent, Rachel Scott. Semaphore political reporter, Kadia Goba. And anchor of the Faulkner Focus and co-host of Outnumbered on Fox News, Harris Faulkner.
NABJ.
Okay, sorry, to get off on the disco metal thing. Spectral said disco's the antithesis to metal, or do I have it the other way around? It's not an antithesis. And actually... God, this is so hard to, because I don't want to get into it right now, but also it's like a really interesting subject. Disco, at its very foundation, was birthed at a time where it was literally illegal for the same-sex people to dance together. It was literally illegal for two men to dance together. It was literally illegal for anybody to wear more than 3 articles of clothing of the opposite gender. So when disco music came around, it was underground, it was in clubs, and it was played like for men to dance with men, women to dance with women, men to wear women's clothing, women to wear men's clothing, transgender people, absolutely. It was all for that. And it ties into Stonewall, which is like a club that did that played that underground music, allowed people to dance whoever they wanted to dance with, that was eventually raided by the police, which started the Stonewall riot. And those queers, those lesbians and gays and transgender people, beat the ever-living fucking shit out of those police. And later, there was the sort of metal movement who was saying disco sucks, disco's dead. And the metal people at the time were predominantly white straight guys. And so it's kind of like, it's this weird thing where it's like, yeah, metal's metal, but like, if you understand the history and the foundation of disco music, frankly, they are far tougher, more punk and more metal than actual metalheads. But I would love to dive deeper into that later, where that's not the subject. Let's get back to this. I'm really anxious to see this.
Mic's on? Hear me? Here we go. Test, test, test. Good afternoon, NABJ, and welcome to a conversation with former President Donald Trump. This discussion continues a decades-long tradition during election years of inviting journalists to discuss the policies and their impact with the candidates who are running for president, and the impact of those policies, especially in Black communities. Former Presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton have attended the NABJ conventions either as presidents or as presidential candidates in past years. NABJ is currently in conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris's team to schedule a Q&A either in person or virtually in September. As journalists, we use opportunities like these both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand the choices that they face in a consequential and historic election year. NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact-check this conversation in real time. You can access that feed on social media using the hashtag NABJFactCheck. Again, the hashtag is NABJFactCheck. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time, so let's bring out the former President of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump.
What's up? Exploring the Hollows. How you doing, buddy? Says yes to the camping video. I'm kind of inspired by you, gotta admit. By the way, I have been watching a lot of videos on Exploring the Hollows. You should go check out his channel, because I'm like, that, you are my people. Like, you are my people. Like, I watched a video by Exploring the Hollows where he was, like, riding on his electric bike, like, with his dog, like, riding around a river, like, looking at stuff, and I'm just like, this is, like, fucking, like, I love this. This is the kind of shit I watch, like, from other YouTubers. Like, I watch other YouTubers go camping and bike riding and stuff like that. I'm like, this is my people. So thank you so much. Like, everybody check out Andy. Like, seriously, just mwah, love it. And I actually want to watch some of Andy's videos. I was kind of thinking I want to get to it today, but I'm like, I'm going to save it for later. But, like, Andy's videos are really good. So thank you so much, Andy. And actually, like, yeah, I do kind of, like, want to record some camping experience. I live in California. We're going to be going out into the Hollister Clear Creek area, which is, like, in the middle of California in the valley. It's going to be very desertous. I don't even know if that's a word. There's going to be, it's like a desert. There's a lot of abandoned mines in the area, so there's a lot of cool stuff you can find if you go out there and look at the ground, you can find like green garnet, you can find like jade specimens, like all this different kind of stuff, which is really cool. And it's technically like BLM land, so Bureau of Land Management. So it's not really like you need to pay a camping fee. You just kind of like sign a permit and print it out just so that they know who you are and if you're out there. But it's gonna be really cool. Really cool place. Not your average camping place. Like, not your average, like accommodated camping place with, like, fancy quarter-operated showers and stuff like that. So, anyways, let's get to this because I'm, like, I want to know what Trump said that was so fucking insane. Like, let's watch this. So, we're at the convention, the National Association of Black Journalists, and we're going to watch them talk to Trump.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir.
Alrighty, let's address the elephant in the room. Okay, let's go. Buckle in, bitches.
A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rights.
You're right. Specs is like he is the elephant. Yeah, let's address the elephant in the room. You. What's up, MC? We're just starting. Let me just back it up just a little bit. We just got Trump in the room. They're gonna fucking like talk to him. Let's see this. The National Association of Black Journalists. Let's see how this shit goes. Sorry, I keep it. People keep coming in right now. It's exciting.
Here we go. Test, test, test. Good afternoon, NABJ, and welcome to a conversation with former President Donald Trump. This discussion continues a decades-long tradition during election years of inviting journalists to discuss the policies and their impact with the candidates who are running for president, and the impact of those policies, especially in Black communities. Former Presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton have attended the NABJ conventions either as presidents or as presidential candidates in past years. NABJ is currently in conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris's team to schedule a Q&A either in person or virtually in September. As journalists, we use opportunities like these both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand the choices that they face in a consequential and historic election year. NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact-check this conversation in real time. You can access that feed on social media using the hashtag NABJFactCheck. Again, the hashtag is NABJFactCheck. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time, so let's bring out the former President of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump. Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir.
You.
A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you?
I haven't seen this, but already I don't think this is going to go well. Like, Trump never in the history of ever does well with direct questions. Like, if he does not have an out or a way to, like, schmooze over it without really answering the question, like, I don't think this is gonna go well.
After you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go.
What did you think you were showing up for? What the fuck did you actually think you were showing up for? The National Association of Black Journalists. You don't think you're gonna get grilled? Really? It's a surprise? It's a fucking mystery as to why they're doing this? Like, are you kidding me?
Go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false
Oh no, your opponent is here. Just not in the way you understand.
pretense. And then you said you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working, or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you...
He is. He's doing exactly. He's not answering this question. The only difference this time is it looks extra bad for him not to directly answer the question.
I have answered the question. I have been the best president for the black population.
What?
Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace. I really do.
Let me just ask a follow-up.
Yo, this is so fucking disrespectful. Holy shit. Holy shit.
And then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Diversity, equity, inclusion, the way Republicans use the phrase DEI, it's literally their replacement for the N-word. Like, I swear to God, anytime a Republican, comments or complains about DEI or accuses things of, frivolously, using DEI, it's just a fancy way of saying the N-word. They just as well say the word that they want to say.
Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of that.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman.
I respect
she went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she went she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think,
that
I think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask, continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir.
300,000 black people in India. There's black people in India. There's black Indians. Hello.
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length. And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that
Well,
interview.
you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today.
Yeah, I mean, geopolitically, sure, perhaps, like, she's more, like, in tune with being Indian, but it's like, she's black. Hello? I'm already losing my mind. What's going on here? What's happening? I'm so glad I watched this stuff with you guys, because if I had to watch this alone, I would be making these comments out loud to an empty living room.
I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
What the fuck is a black job? This is as just as an elusive question, an answer to a question as what is a woman? What is a woman? What is a black job? You don't fucking know.
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President,
they're taking the.
Okay, so if a black job is anybody that has a job, that still doesn't define a black job. Black people have any job. Any job. They're retail workers, they're fast food workers, they're garbage men, they're CEOs, and soon, potentially, president. Like, what do you, like, there's black people as judges, like, police, like, business owners. Like, a black job could be anything. And he says right there, a black job is anybody who has a job. So they're just coming after jobs, period, is what he's trying to say. But he's trying to say specifically black jobs because what he wants to do here is instill separation, you know? Like, he wants what's the word? Oh god, why am I drawing a blank right here? Division. He wants to instill division. He wants to try to fearmonger with the black community and convince them that people coming up from Mexico are specifically going out for their jobs. But you can't define a black job. So it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense other than the whole seed of that concept is to sow division.
Employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's...
Yeah, Elise is right. Elise says obviously a journalist is a black job since he's at a conference of black journalists and people are not coming out of the border to steal journalist jobs. Right?
Happened. The first group of people, the black population, is affected most by that, and Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never even...
Okay. There is some truth to this. Kamala Harris, when it comes to, like, border, like, policies, she fucking sucks. She really does. But it's like... This is such a stupid talking point, but why should we expect any better? Why do I have to pee again?
Essentially been, she said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border, she's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs, and frankly, they're taking union jobs.
Taking Hispanic jobs? What the fuck do you mean by Hispanic jobs? You mean the system of exploitation that takes illegal immigrants and literally like enslaves them for pennies to the dollars? Because that shit happens. I live in California. I live in the salad bowl of America in Central Coast, California. I know for a fact that there's plenty of illegal immigrants doing the agriculture work, picking your tomatoes, picking your lettuce, picking all your fucking fruits and vegetables, like, and they're getting paid fractions of a cent. You know? Like, it just, yeah, that is a problem, but like the way he talks about it, it's fear-mongering. Fear-mongering.
Unions are being very badly affected by all of the millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, many of these people are coming in from mental institutions, from prisons, from jails. They're gang members in other countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate is going down, and our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with black communities. And I say that plural because...
I'm sorry, I have to pee again. I know that's like, I don't want to, but like I have to. Hold on. Okay.
We live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
Sure.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something.
That's a good point to make. It's like there's like even within like the black community, there's so much difference of opinion. They don't all think the same. It's not a monolith. And I hear this talked about by trans people too. Often these Christo-fascist like Republicans will talk about trans people in a way where it's like a monolith. It's like one person, like all trans people are the same under this monolith. And it's just not fucking true.
That bursts, and this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now.
Jan, do you know the way to San Jose? Yeah, I live like literally an hour and a half drive from there.
The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single
Good night, Halloween Mom. We love you.
black moms, when you look statistically.
Yeah.
How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, this woman
shut
wasn't
up.
able to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult.
No pandemic. No flat earth. We do not do pandemic, and we do not do flat earth here in this chat. If you believe in that shit, leave.
Actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had, in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%.
Layla, I already deleted you from Mark's stream for this flat earth shit. I'm deleting you from my channel now. Goodbye. We don't need you here. Hide user on this channel. I'm so sick of that shit. I noticed her when she came in, but like, no, I, as a moderator, like, removed her from Mark's stream forever ago because of her, like, flat earth shit. It ain't gonna fly here. Prove the earth is round. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! I'm not nice. I'm a messy bitch. Shut up!
And you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people, young black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house.
Sorry, I gotta backtrack that a little. I got a little irritated with that.
How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, you know, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had, in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Okay. Young people, young black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy it because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation is a disaster.
Or because of redlining.
And it's destroying our country, and it's destroying the black community probably as much or more.
So what do you do?
Than any
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might, I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls, and then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst.
That debate didn't go good for you either, Trump. It didn't go good for you either. Like, that debate did not go well for Trump either. Like, it's kind of funny he thinks, like, well, it went bad for Biden. It's like, it didn't go good for you either. You both sucked.
Worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying, you know, let's keep going, and maybe something happens the other way, they said, oh, we're going to replace him. Let's just replace him. That's like you're in a fight, a prize fighter's in a fight. He's not doing well. You say, let's bring in another fighter. So our whole campaign was steered toward him, and now we have to steer toward him. But ultimately, it's the same because they have bad policy. They have policies of open borders, unbelievable open borders, horrible energy policies. They want to get rid of, as you say, gasoline in cars. They want to get rid of oil. They want to get rid of efficient heating.
Mr. President.
Environmentally, what they're doing is killing our country. They're absolutely destroying our country. But the inflation is the thing that's hurting the black worker, the black population, and every other population within our country. Inflation is the worst it's been, I think, in over 100 years. And they'll fact check it. They'll say it's only 58. Whatever it may be, they don't add all the numbers. They don't add the really bad numbers, and you can check that too. but inflation, Harris, is absolutely destroying this country and the people in our country. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
President, can I ask you another question
Yes,
that is
and-
also impacting Black Americans?
And that's very clear now. Good.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay. So Sadia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed Black woman, was shot the other day in her home.
Spec says, "Oh my God, stop calling it Mr. President. What's wrong with all of them that keep saying that?" Technically, he is. I mean, once you are a president, even afterwards, it's still appropriate to call somebody Mr. President. So even if we were to watch something about Obama or even, oh shit. Why am I drawing a mind blank? Before that. But anyways, Clinton, hello. Clinton, Bush, Obama, you would still refer to them as Mr. President. It's like an appropriate thing. Like once you're president, you can always be referred to as president.
The really bad numbers, and you can check that too. But inflation, Harris, is absolutely destroying this country and the people in our country. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
President, can I ask you another question
Yes,
that is
and-
also impacting Black Americans?
And that's very clear now. Good.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay. So Sadia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed Black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said-
Oh, I think they're talking about, there was recently, like literally like last week, there was this incident with a Black woman who called the police. I can't remember for what issue, but she called the police herself to have them come there and help her. And they were standing in her living room with her. And she was sitting on the couch. There was policemen standing in the living room with her. I would show it, but honestly, it's really horrifying. So I'll just describe it. So it's a police body cam footage from the police's body cam. They go in there. This Black woman called the police for an issue. I can't remember if it was for like a home invasion issue. Somebody was trying to break in or something. Yeah, Cassie says she thought somebody was breaking in. So she called the police. They came there. They're talking with her in the living room. Okay, she's sitting there, like, in her robe, right? Like, chilling. And she had some water boiling on her stove. And the water started to overboil in the pot. And the police officer told her directly, hey, you better go get that pot of boiling water and get that off the stove, or, you know, something's going to go on, or, you know, cause a fire or whatever. So she's like, okay. So she stands up, goes into her kitchen, and grabs some pot holders, and picks up the pot of boiling water, and is like going to pour it in the sink. And the cop made some sort of comment like, you know, you better not, you know, throw that on me or do something like that. And just made this weird comment, like thinking that, oh, she's going to throw it on me. Mind you, she's in the kitchen, like by her sink, and the cop is still standing like 10 feet away. And so she said some weird comment, something along the lines of like, I'm going to baptize you in Jesus' name or something. But it translated to the cop as like she was trying to threaten him with pouring boiling water. Keep in mind, like the cop was like several feet away. So the cop decided to take out his gun and shoot her in the head. Because she was holding a pot of boiling water 10 feet away from him. I have seen thousands upon thousands of police body cam footage. Because it's just like a weird guilty pleasure of mine. I like critiquing police. I like watching police body cam footage. I like critiquing police. I don't know, it's kind of like reality TV for me. Even in that even as much weird shit and like overreaction by police as I've seen, that was like way crazy. So this police officer shot her in the head just because she was holding a pot of boiling water like 10 feet away from him. No reason for him to shoot her. And even then, there's plenty of other methods. Like, he could have tased her. That definitely wouldn't have been nice, but at least she would have been alive. Could have pepper sprayed her, something. I've seen police do all sorts of other things besides shoot people. So there is the potentiality and there is the capability of that. So I think that's what they're talking about, is that incidents, and it's a really disturbing thing, and it makes me very fucking angry. When you call somebody out to help you and they end up shooting you in the fucking face, yeah, that's absolutely. And when they looked into this specific police officer, when they looked into his background, he was like not a veteran, but like, he did serve in the military or army or something. And he had been passed around between police precincts because he can't like stay at the same police station, and has like a record of just not being a swell guy. David says, I think if my company heard me say black worker, they would fire me. Yeah, so why are we saying black jobs? Anyways, back to this.
Police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would...
They're going to be charging the officer. I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those distinctions?
Well, right now, for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime, or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody...
What the fuck are you talking about? This woman that they're talking about did not make a innocent mistake. She wasn't a criminal. She wasn't anything. The police officer asked her to take the water off her stove because he's like, oh, that's, you shouldn't let the water boil. She picked it up, turned around, and he shot her in the fucking face. It's not that gray. It's very, very pointed. He is missing the whole fucking point.
Made an innocent mistake. I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine an innocent mistake?
You go after somebody, and it's a very close call, and it's very dangerous. And they have
the policeman's
life and woman is a very difficult thing, because sometimes you have less than a second to make a life and death decision, and sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly. I find it interesting because...
Is he saying that that officer made a mistake? Because if that's the case, he made several mistakes, which would put into question his fucking employment altogether. Hey. What the fuck? I lost my thing. Hold on. There we go.
The policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing, because sometimes you have less than a second to make a life and death decision, and sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly. I find it interesting because you do talk about reining in prosecutors, especially when it comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of two people that have weaponized our justice system. I've been prosecuted. I just won the big case in Florida. Everyone said that was the biggest case. That was the most difficult case. And I just won it. Now, Biden has a similar case, except much worse. I was protected under the Presidential Records Act. Biden wasn't, because he wasn't president at the time. And he had 50.
You don't understand. I may have committed crimes, but I was protected, and Biden wasn't. So that makes it okay that I do crimes, and it's not okay for Biden to do crimes. You don't understand, okay?
Years worth of documents, and they ruled that he was incompetent, and therefore he shouldn't stand trial. And I said, isn't that something? He's incompetent, and he can't stand trial, and yet he can be president. Isn't that nice?
Mr. President,
but
I want to
released
Bro, you are projecting beyond the boundaries right now.
him on the basis that he was incompetent. They said he had no memory, and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory, and therefore we're not going to prosecute him. I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We covered you
George
extensively, sir. I'd
Slopadopoulous.
love to move over onto different
I didn't
topics
notice you
now.
do any publicity on it at all.
He wants to talk about himself at this point. He just wants to talk about himself.
Well, I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where I
Sir,
have
if you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile
love
judge.
to. We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse
if
you.
we
You're the
can.
one that held me up at 35 minutes, just so you understand.
Oh my God, get over it. Just because there was some technical difficulties for 30 minutes, who gives a shit? That has nothing to do with or have any relation to the competency and the concerns of these women journalists.
If we can move on now to the state of the race, sir, I want to get back to the campaign. Senator J.D. Vance is your running mate. He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. He's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children.
What the fuck is wrong with being a childless cat lady? Cassie? Cassie? Cassie, how do you feel as a childless cat lady? Me and Cassie are best friends. I could give her crap. Like, what is wrong with being a childless cat lady? I don't even fucking know.
Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate? And do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family oriented, and he thinks family is a great thing. That doesn't mean he thinks that if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking
Excuse
about
me.
families here.
And
He also
some of
says
those
that people that don't have children should get less votes than
That's
those
all right.
that do.
I'm just speaking for myself.
that your
and I
campaign
think
position?
I'm speaking for him, too.
J.D. Vance has this position where he's like, Kamala Harris is a childless cat lady, and it's childless cat ladies that are going to ruin this election. And, let's see, what was the thing that was said at the end? It's going to finish my thought.
It is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children.
Oh, and it is in J.D. Vance's opinion that these childless cat ladies should be paying more tax. Like, in his opinion, which is Trump's running mate, if you do not have a child, you should be paying more taxes than people who have children, which I think is totally bullshit. I have made the decision not to have a child. Not exactly, but you know, I'm just like painting the picture. If I have made the choice to be childless, Why should I be paying more taxes for other people's choices? Because if the whole Christian nationalist idea is that you should be populating the earth and you should be having big families, that's your choice. If you can't afford to have a big family, don't have one. Don't have a big family. If you can't afford it, don't rely on my hard work and my efforts to pay for your kids. Now, I'm all about paying taxes for kids to be taken care of. Don't get me wrong. I think it should be a community thing. If there are children existing in our society, we should all care about them. So don't mistaken me for saying that shouldn't be a thing. But under their sort of like idea of it, it's bullshit.
Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your...
It's not that I don't want to pay more taxes for kids. I want the taxes that I'm already paying to help children, to help our own country, to help our own healthcare system. Use that money for that. I don't need to pay more on top for the war in Gaza and your kids. Like, shut up.
Running mate, and do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family oriented, and he thinks family is a great thing. That doesn't mean he thinks that if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking about families here.
And
he also
some
says
of those
that people that don't have children should get less votes than those that do.
I'm just speaking for myself.
Is that your
and I think
campaign position?
I'm speaking for him too. He strongly believes in family, but I know people with great families. I know
Answer the question.
people with not great families that don't have a family, and the people without the family are far better. They're superior in many cases, okay? He's not saying they're not. What he's saying is that he thinks the family experience is a very important thing. It's a very good thing. But that doesn't mean that if you grow up and you grow older and you don't meet somebody that would be wonderful to meet and would have been good, that that's a bad thing. He's not saying that. My interpretation, you'll have to ask him, actually, but my interpretation is he's strongly family-oriented, but that doesn't mean if you don't have a family, there's something wrong with it.
Just one last point, and then we'll move on. Just one of the bedrock principles of American life is one person, one vote. Senator J.D. Vance has suggested that someone who has children should have more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something I have ever heard before. I can tell you this. Right now you have illegal aliens coming into our country, many from prisons and many from mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally, and they're taking the vote away from all of the people in this room that have been here a long time, that have worked hard.
And you're convicted of crimes. Should you be allowed to vote?
In many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happening. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening a long time. You're going to see the people in this room and people.
See, I disagree. I think, I don't think it's hard. Okay. It's not hard to see that Trump is full of shit. So to disagree with him right off the bat before you invite him in your national convention, I disagree that is biased. That's common sense. Like, Trump is here for you to ask about the shit that you know he's done. I disagree. I don't think she's biased at all. I think she's matter-of-factly, and she's calling him out for his shit.
People outside of this room are going to be losing their jobs to people that have come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of the race right now? Because I felt like that vice president question, candidate question was right in there with that. So let's talk about J.D. Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Why did you choose J.D. Vance? Why did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing, too.
I chose him
everybody out
because-
there can, but it's
I'll
hard
tell
to
you
hear.
why. I chose him because he's a very strong believer in work and the working man and woman, and especially the working man and woman who have been treated very unfairly, because you have many.
And he also fucks couches. He doesn't really. That's actually technically a rumor that JD Vance fucks couches. But it's running so hard. It's memed so hard that JD Vance actually had to release an official statement that he does not fuck couches. If you do not think that Generation Z has any power politically, eat your words, because they made JD Vance have to give an official announcement that he does not have sexual intercourse with couches by placing a latex glove between the cushions and inserting his genitals into it. Just saying. Oh, hey, Morg. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Good to see you, bud. All right, back to this.
Many of them in this room, but you have many of those people, they were treated very unfairly. They worked very hard and they were treated unfairly. He wrote the book that became a bestseller. The movie became a smash hit. He's a very smart guy without the benefit of having a family that has contacts, like a father that was well connected. He got into Yale Law School. He graduated in 2 years from Ohio State, summa cum laude. I mean, you take a look at, his career has been an amazing career. He started off at a level with a difficult family situation, very difficult, with the mother and the father and everything else. He ends up going to Yale Law School and was one of the top students, became the head of the law journal. I mean, it's an amazing thing. He's a 4-year, he was in the military with great distinction for 4 years. Got out, went into business, became successful in business, very successful in business, actually. Did public offerings and other things. And I have to believe in that. I mean, he's somebody that was born in a rough situation. Most of the people know that situation because it was very well documented in his book. And I have a lot of respect for somebody that can get into Yale and become one of the best students in Yale, that meets a young woman at Yale who was also outstanding, and they get married, they have a beautiful family, but he had he's made himself an amazing life. He then goes to Ohio, lives in Ohio, and he had my endorsement. That helped. But he wins the Senate. He becomes a United States Senator. So he's a United States Senator. And so, Harris, like I respect you for your success, I respect people for their success.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And 2 days after that...
I cannot understand. Your microphone
I know,
is so
it is really hard for me to understand
it's just,
you, too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's closer.
I can understand you.
I'm happy to hear that, sir.
But I can't
really
understand, Harris.
I have a few more questions.
Because of the
How convenient.
distance, and the mics are really in lousy shape, but I cannot understand
Are you asking a question?
what you're saying.
So what I wanted to say was the last time we spoke, you said some words that were prophetic because I asked you who you wanted to choose for vice president.
Yeah.
And you said normally it really wouldn't matter what they would bring, you choose somebody that you think has a future, that sort of thing. But you said these words 3.5 hours before an attempted assassination on your life. You told me that bad things happen, Harris, and that's why this decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at J.D. Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. and then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons of what we're talking about, not for vote reasons, but for political reasons, other political reasons. But historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think JD is. I think that all of them would have been, but you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me. If you like me, I'm going to win. If you don't like me, I'm not going to win.
I'm going to get my JD Vance.
I don't think you understand the volume of people that don't like you. Also, I have to admit, there's an astonishing volume of people that do like him.
Question in.
But that kind of reveals why he's doing the presidency thing. That kind of reveals the essence of his motivation, which is to be liked. Because, I mean, like, ultimately, he's narcissistic. I don't know if he's a narcissist. I can't fucking diagnose people because I'm not a doctor. But, like, he's very narcissistic. And, it would make sense to me that he does whatever he can get the most popular vote for. He doesn't care about Christianity. He doesn't care about faith. He doesn't care about religion. None of that. He's going for who will ever put him into power. And it's the Christian fascists right now that really, really like him. So he's going for it.
JD Vance?
I'm going to get my JD Vance question in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, well, I mean, my point
but at
is
least
here.
it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the Republican Party is getting a little bit too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what JD Vance is saying?
I don't think, look, I think that the Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing...
No, stop. Nobody believes these fucking lies anymore. Nobody. Only idiots believe these lies. Only absolute dunce caps believe these lies. Nobody believes this anymore. And this is one tactic that the Republican Party is trying to, like, capitalize on right now, is the abortion issue. They're like, if we just go heavy on that, like, people are, but the heavier they go onto that, the weirder they sound, the more out of touch with reality they sound. It's shooting themselves in the foot.
But I think it's
they're
about
allowing
freedom,
the death of a baby after the baby is born, based on the governor of Virginia.
After the baby is born, they're gonna abort it. That is so fucking stupid. Nobody's fucking doing that.
State in the country.
Based on the
And you, the one guy, because I've had this happen before, the one person who's like, well, actually, have you seen this one case of the blah, blah, blah? You need to research this. Do your research. Shut up. Shut up.
Governor of Virginia, they're allowing the death of the baby after it's born. They're allowing abortions in the 8th and 9th month.
Well, Democrats have denied.
I think they're right. And I think the Republican Party is actually much less. I think I've made them much less radical, perhaps. But the Republican Party, what we're doing is bringing it back to the states where everybody wanted it. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservative, everybody wanted abortion brought back. They didn't want Roe v. Wade in the federal government. They wanted it. Everybody wanted it back.
But the majority of Americans oppose Roe v. Wade being overturned.
They don't know about this. Right now, they're voting. It brought it back to the states. Now, I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Ronald Reagan believed with rape, incest.
Andy says Vance also said that the only people who have children get to vote. And that is insane. To assume that people who do not have children themselves are not interested in the well-being of children in our country in general. Of course I want my taxes to go towards giving children lunch and breakfast at schools, even during the summer, to have meals, like a meal a day at least. Like, of course as a childless person, I want my taxes to go towards that. But they're talking about, like, extra taxes. You don't get to vote. You don't have a say. It's like, excuse me, was I not a child once? Like, it doesn't make any sense. People who don't have children, they might say in a way, like, emotional or just kind of like hyperbolically, I don't like children, but nobody actually wants children to fucking suffer. I would love for my tax money to go towards helping kids get a meal than funding fucking war. You know, I would rather my taxes go towards Medicare, Medicaid, all that stuff, instead of funding the military. So don't give me that shit that like, you know, I hate people like Trump or JD Vance who are like, oh, people without children shouldn't vote. Like, fuck you. Fuck you if you think we don't have the best interest of our country at heart.
Life of the mother, I do. I think most people do. I think most Republicans do also. But if you take a look, right now they're doing, it's an amazing thing. Out of the federal government, it's in states, and people are voting. And I will say, Ohio is, let's call it a more liberal version, has been approved. Kansas, the same thing, a little bit surprising to a lot of people. But the people are now voting, and it's taking this issue that's been going on for 52 years and has torn our country apart, and it's giving it to the people to vote on. And they're voting. And many states have already voted. Others are in the process of voting. And it's bringing it back to the people and a vote of the people. And it's not at all radical. And again, you have to follow your heart. I happen to believe in the three exceptions. Most people believe in the three exceptions. Most Republicans believe in the exceptions. But they don't want to see an abortion in the 9th month or the 8th month. Almost everybody agrees to that. And they certainly don't want to see, in the case of the...
Oh my God, this is like the same shit talking about transgender children. They're always spouting this idea that transgender children are getting surgeries and irreversible damage to their bodies. When children transition, it's always like they're changing their name. They're wearing different clothes. You can't get surgeries until you're like 18. There's no reason to have any sort of body-altering surgeries until then because you're not even like mature enough body-wise. Like, but then simultaneously, you'll get parents who approve breast enlargements or boob jobs to like 15-year-old girls. Like, suddenly there's nobody talking about that. Trans kids aren't getting surgeries. Trans children are just changing their names, wearing different clothes, trying different pronouns. Like, this is the same shit too. It's like, oh, women are aborting the child even after it's born. It's like, no, they're not. And even if that was a case, that is some extreme medical scenario going on in which it is such a hard fucking decision to make. That's not happening. That's not happening.
Governor of Virginia.
People aren't willy-nilly deciding like, well, I'm 9 months pregnant. You know what? I'm just going to end it just for fun. Nobody does that. So why are you using that as a talking point? And the same goes to like talking about trans children. Oh, we can't allow trans children to get care because their bodies are going to get mutilated. They're not getting surgeries. They're not. Even if they're on puberty blockers, those puberty blockers are not harming them.
The former governor, I might add, who said...
Puberty blockers, by the way, have been used since the 80s without any issues, treating even children.
We set the baby aside, and then we decide what to do. Meaning, what do? We execute the baby. That's a radical, horrible position. And some people want that. I don't want it. Most people don't.
Thank you. Can I just pivot really quickly to another question about, you brought up health, Harris. You're an active man. We see you golfing all the time. But if you win, you'll still be president at 82, which is older than Biden is right now.
But not mentally. Look, mentally.
I think maybe because this is irritating me, I have to pee so much. Anyways, I have to pee again. I'm sorry. Okay.
Here's the question.
He shot. But most people,
Would you consider?
most people, I know many people in their
Yeah.
80s and their 90s that are in great shape. Some of our greatest leaders. You look at throughout the world history, the greatest leaders, some of the greatest leaders in the world were in their 80s.
But here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if you felt that your health was declining? Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
And who would make,
I think I'd know.
How would you make that decision?
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated
Oh, my
me,
goodness.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
and I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That was a nasty, that wasn't a question. She
Sir,
didn't
if you
ask
can
me a
answer the
question.
question.
She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated your
answer the
statement, sir,
question.
actually.
You said you would. You would
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If
to
I
step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way, I want people to be sharp. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test, to take a cognitive test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Well, can
got
I
'em.
just-
I took 2 of them. But let me ask you.
Yeah,
Did you?
I would like to have people running for president, and I don't mean because they're 75 or 85. I think anybody running, I'd like to do it. People say it's not constitutional. I would like to have something passed where you can do it. I think we should know. I mean, I've watched what's happened in the last couple of years under this gentleman, and our country is a mess. We have inflation. We have the millions of people falling in. We have Afghanistan, which was the worst, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. What he has done to our country, and her too, what they've done to our country, she has been a horrible vice president. She's considered the worst vice president in the history of our country.
By
I don't
whom?
wanna interrupt you, but would you consider taking the cognitive test
Mr. President,
I would love to
and
do
make
it.
it public?
Well, I've already taken 2 of them, but I'll do it again.
Mr.
I
President,
suggested-
how do you intend?
Yeah, make it public. Take the cognitive test and make it public. I agree. Go ladies.
I suggested, Harris, that let's take one. I said, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now, I'd do it with her, too. I would do it with her also. You know what? She failed her law exam. She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she would.
You know how many fucking lawyers, like really good lawyers these days, failed the fucking law, like, exam, the entry exam for law? So many people that take that exam to enter into law, they fail it. Like, the first, second, and even third time. They take it several times. Like, there's a reason the test is so tough. Like, it's not abnormal to fail that test the first, second, or even, like, third time. Like, that's normal.
Pass the cognitive test.
Mr.
Are
President,
you saying she wouldn't pass? Just to be clear,
I'm just giving you the facts.
to be clear, you don't think
I'm
Harris
just
how do you
giving the
intend,
facts.
and
She didn't
look,
pass her bar exam, and she didn't think she would pass it, and she didn't.
Yeah, the bar exam. So many lawyers that are lawyers today have taken the bar exam a few times, failed it, but they still make it. Like, it's nothing crazy.
Think she was going to have to pass it, and I don't know what happened. Maybe she passed it. I
she
guess
did pass it.
There's a
She
man
did-
over
she
here.
did
I
in fact
think
pass
he
it.
must work for
Mr.
her.
President, I would love to
Well, of course she passed it because she was a prosecutor for a while. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
ask you about January 6th. You've called yourself the candidate of law and order.
Yeah.
When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones, at least one officer lost an eye, one had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs, another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day. Like about 5 days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol.
What the
You
fuck
saw
are you
the
talking
people
about?
that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limes.
Oh, something we did not cover. I think there was a protest and there was like a bunch of spray paint, only they were like spray painting Hamas on it. I don't know much about that. So I haven't covered it yet. I don't have anything to say on it because I don't know. but I did see some things, and it was something I'm like, I should probably cover this, but I don't know enough about it right now to comment on it. Other than I like saw some pictures with spray paint and like Hamas and things like that. I don't know. I'm not going to comment because I don't know.
Stone and granite with red paint, red spray paint that will never actually come off, especially in the limestone. It will never. I'm a builder. I know about this stuff. It'll never.
You're a builder and you know about this stuff?
They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to the people that tried to
rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system. How come the people that tried to burn down Minneapolis, how come the people that took over...
I love it when the crowd laughs at him. It's really funny.
Large percentage of Seattle. How come nothing happened to them? How come the people
But sir, we're talking about people that were seen beating officers with flagpoles, dragging them down the stairs. They're on video. Have you seen that video, sir?
Oh, really? Well, they
You would pardon those rioters?
They shot a young lady in the face who was protesting. They shot her in the face. You know, nobody died that day. You do know that. But people died in Seattle. Nobody died, but people died in Minneapolis. You know people died in Minneapolis. And nothing happens, and nobody ever talks, and nothing happens to those people. But you went after the J6 people with a vengeance. And I'll tell you what about the cops that were, and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go in, go in, go in. What about that? Look, nothing is perfect in life, but you have people from Minneapolis, you have people just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C. They were having fist fights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying. They were desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems of justice. That's why they went after me as a political opponent, because they felt they couldn't win without doing that.
Oh.
And we're going to win our cases, and we're going to...
Never mind the fact that you actually were doing some shady shit that was worth investigating and prosecuting. Okay.
Going to be vindicated, but I have to spend a lot of time on that and money. That's what they want. After the election, they won't care. Although in my case, I think they probably will, because the hatred is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before, and it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
I don't know about that.
What do you do on day one if you win? What's your first thing?
What do? I close the border. And I do two things, because I can do a lot of things simultaneously. I close the border. We don't want people coming.
I can do a lot of things simultaneously. I can walk. I can chew bubblegum. I can pat my head and rub my belly at the same time. Even better than other people. I am the best at patting my head and rubbing my stomach.
We want people to come in, Harris, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. They have to come in legally. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. So when you say, what do I do? That, and I drill, baby, drill. I bring energy way down. I bring interest rates down. I bring inflation way down so people can buy bacon again.
That's all we need is more fracking.
And so people can buy a ham sandwich again, so that people can go to a restaurant and afford it. Because right now, people can't buy food.
Ham sandwiches are the least of my worry right now.
Grocery bills are up 40, 50, 60%, right? She's agreeing to me. Oh, she's agreeing. Thank you. I like you very much.
Mr. President, I think we are.
But it's true. Your grocery bills are up. And then they're mandating that you buy an all-electric car. You know, Elon Musk endorsed me, and he's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. But I'm against everybody having an electric car, okay? I'm very much against that. You have to be able to, if you want a hybrid or if you want a gasoline-propelled car. But, you know, we have more liquid gold, gasoline, oil, under our feet than any other country. More than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than any other country.
Okay, so why are we carpet bombing the Middle East then?
I want to use it. I want to use what we have. I want to bring down prices, bring down costs. And I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people coming in
my
are taking your jobs.
Project
Mr. President,
2025.
I think we have to leave it there by the Trump team.
All right.
So leave it. That is the last word. Thank you so much, Mr. Trump, for coming today and joining us.
Well, thank you very much.
They've been telling us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Great
Thank you,
honor.
Mr. President.
Thank you.
NABJ will email about details regarding the conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris in September. Thank you.
Well, that was extremely painful. Elise says, how does drilling help people eat bacon and ham more? Wait, how is Drill Baby Drill gonna put a ham sandwich on my table? I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but like, you know what I mean. Wow, okay, that's interesting. So anyways, Republicans are being called weird. And it's becoming the most effective insult. Actually, I think the Humanist Report did a really good take on this. We've watched his videos before, so this should be okay. Humanist Report. Look at my big face for a minute. Look at my big face. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. For you. Oh, here we go. This is good.
JD Vance.
We've watched Humanist Report before, so let's take a look.
This is not weird. He's
Wait, hold on. Put on the captions.
JD Vance is not weird. He's like pretty much as normal as they get.
According to the left, what makes you weird is believing that it is actually of moral benefit to the United States for people to have children.
Okay, first of all, Ben Shapiro, of all people, trying to validate what is weird and not weird, you've already lost. There is nobody weirder than Ben Shapiro, the man who bought a wood from Home Depot. Like, are you kidding me? Like, why are we listening to Ben talk about what's weird and what's not?
Weird. Everything about, again, Vance is weird. Does Vance actually have a problem?
If you're going to accuse someone of having sex with a couch, you better have video.
There's a new insult out this week that her and her husband have been using towards you.
Never mind having to have proof, like video proof of Vance having sex with a couch. The fact that you're actually having to address it in the first place should tell you something.
Calling you weird. Does that hurt your feelings? How do you feel about that?
No, not at all. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
The couch was not 18? Yo, it was a minor couch, okay? You don't understand.
So there's currently a PSYOP campaign underway by the weirdest people in America to convince all of us that JD Vance isn't actually weird.
And that's honestly, I think this is the most, like, brilliant thing about, like, this sort of weird campaign that's happening. It's like, this whole Christo-fascist, like, thing that's trying to happen right now is weird. It's odd. It's unnatural. It's strange. It's bizarre. And not in the good way. Not the good, like, refreshing way. You know, it's disturbing.
Contrary to popular belief and what we can see with our own eyes. But I mean, of course, the weirdest people in America are going to say that he's not weird because they're going to vouch for him, because if everybody thinks that JD Vance is weird, then of course they're going to also think that Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, and others like Matt Walsh and Vivek Ramaswamy are weird as well. But I, for one, reject this gaslighting campaign because every normal person can see that JD Vance is indeed very weird.
JD Vance is so fucking weird. Yo, check this shit out. This is one of my... I reposted this on my Twitter account because it was just so fucking funny. Like, it was really fucking funny. You can follow me on Twitter, by the way. Watch this.
Take you behind the scenes a little bit. When you get to an event...
Okay, listen to what he says here.
Hey guys, JD Vance here in Radford, Virginia. I thought I'd take you behind the scenes a little bit. When you get to an event, they've got a ton of crap for you to drink and eat. You got 3 bottles of Diet Mountain Dew, about a dozen Snickers, a bag of chips. If I ate even half this stuff, of course, I'd balloon up like crazy. This is the energy that powers the presidential and vice presidential campaign. Of course, I'm honored to be supporting President Trump. I'm honored to be his running mate. If you want to help us, chip in $5, chip in $15 to get the message out and to get people to the polls.
That is the saddest fucking table of snacks I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Hey guys, JD.
What is there? I think those are like Cheetos. What, maybe that's like goldfish? What is that pack? Like some maybe sour cream and like onion like baked crisps. Well, they got like a couple of Snickers, like some bottles of water, and Diet Mountain Dew.
Here in Radford, Virginia, I thought I'd take you behind the scenes a little bit. When you get to an event, they've got a ton of...
You got plain Lace, but what's this up here? Is that like maybe like pretzels? This is the saddest like white person snack table ever.
Crap for you to drink and eat. You got 3 bottles of Diet Mountain Dew, about a dozen Snickers, a bag of chips. If I ate...
Like plain tortilla chips. This is the saddest fucking white person table of snacks I've ever fucking seen in my life. Like, what? That is the most unmotivating, like, table of snacks to, like, approach.
Even half this stuff, of course, I balloon up like crazy. This is the energy...
I eat plain Lay's potato chips because if I eat the barbecue ones, they're too spicy.
That powers the presidential and vice presidential campaign. Of course, I'm honored to be supporting President Trump. I'm honored to be his running mate.
And then he just starts talking about like political stuff. What the fuck are you talking? You're taking us on a tour of your shitty table of boring snacks, and then you're talking about like being a part of the presidential campaign.
You want to help us? Chip in $5, chip in $15 to get the message out and to get people to the polls. This election is so important. Your resources help us do the things we need to win it.
Okay, so I'm going to read this thing that this person said because this is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. And it's his, like, Teddy Wilson. I don't know who he is. He's just some random, like, I don't know, fucking know. But this is so funny. So you watch that video, and it's like, he's talking like he's JD Vance. And it's like, hello, I am a human male. Also, I am a candidate. I need to eat these processed foods to continue my life cycle. Please donate $5, and I will be able to purchase more yellow drink made from the moisture gathered from this planet's mountains. It's diet. That is like verbatim, like the perfect like fucking description of what the fuck that was. It's like, hello, I'm Vance. I eat these snacks. Please donate $5. I drink Diet Mountain Dew.
Now, what's funny about this whole weird thing is that it's clearly getting under his skin. And even though he's trying to play it cool, you could tell it's hurting his feelings. So he hit back at Kamala on Twitter with a no you, and by sharing this clip of Kamala Harris,
the no you. That's their only defense right now. Is like, I'm not weird, you are.
Really being weird herself. Now, here's the clip.
Oh, Jackie says, what's the couch sex thing? I missed it. So, JD Vance wrote a book back in the day. I forget what it was called. JD Vance book. It's called The Hillbilly Elegy. A memoir of a family and culture crisis. So JD Vance wrote this book back in the day in 2016. called The Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir of family and culture in crisis. And he tried to write a book from the perspective of like a average Joe countryman living in a trailer park, whatever, like, and what happened is the internet, like young kids, like Generation Z, but like people in the internet started joking and spreading a rumor that within his book, he talked about fucking a couch. And by the way he did that, it's like he takes a latex glove and fills it with lube and places it between couch cushions and then inserts his genitals into it. This is actually provably false. He did not actually do that or write about that in his book. However, the rumor and the joke of it caught on so hard that he and his team actually had to make an official announcement assuring people that he does not fuck couches, which makes it even weird that he had to even like state that. Like, you think he would just ignore it or something. So that's what happened. He did not actually fuck a couch, but because he wrote that weird hillbilly book, people are joking like, oh yeah, he had a memoir of like him fucking a couch. And it caught on so popularly, it caught on so virally that he had to actually come out and make a statement against it. Which is why I was saying I think it's beautiful that Generation Z is like active politically in this sense, because they actually forced a politician to make a statement that they do not fuck couches. That is fucking golden. I love it. I want more of that. I want that chaos. Hi, Susan. You're just watching about Republicans are going crazy. We're going to talk, I'm going to share briefly, we're going to read an article, but like just talk briefly on why calling Republicans weird is working really well. In a nutshell, the reason it's working well is because when you label Republicans as weird, it takes away from their power of fear-mongering, because their power is in fear. Their power is to make you afraid. So when people are turning around and saying, you're not scary, you're weird, it takes the power of fear away and it makes a mockery of them. And that's why, honestly, this whole weird, like, quote unquote movement should have started like 10 years ago. But it is working. It's working very brilliantly, and we're going to keep going.
Question.
And my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
She, her, and her. Mine too.
All right.
Kamala is finished. Got her. That's giving me drill vibes, specifically the tweet where he says, and another thing, I'm not mad. Please don't put in the newspaper that I got mad. That's JD Vance right now in a nutshell. Because she told the crowd her pronouns in that clip because she was speaking at a town hall specifically about LGBTQ plus issues. So the setting was appropriate for her to disclose her pronouns, and she was communicating to trans and non-binary people that she respects their pronouns and was sharing hers so they're not the only ones sharing theirs in case people ask. So even if you don't get it, it doesn't come across as weird. But what does come across as weird is shit like this.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choice.
I'm sorry, but I know a few childless cat ladies, and they are the happiest I've ever. They are very well content. Susan? Susan is a childless cat lady. She's doing just fucking fine for herself. Cassie. Any other childless cat ladies in the house? I'm here for you, girl. I'm here for you, girl. I'm here for the childless cat ladies. You're beautiful, you're powerful, and we need you.
That they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
Because Because procreating is not the end all and be all of human existence. Sure, I will say it is important to procreate to a degree. But when you model your entire social structure around producing children alone in the power of what goes on in the country based on like if you can or can't have children, you've lost. Because it's too much of a gray area. It's just trying to set out straight that people who don't have children don't matter. And that does not make sense. Because what if, okay, so what? You get married, you have 8 children. 2 of those kids decide they don't want children. Are they now not worthy of voting? Like, are you going to say that? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And like I said before, like, I'm childless. I want my tax money to support children. I want children to be educated and I want them to be well fed. Okay? But why should I give up my right to vote for that? Why? There's plenty of childless people who would never dream of depriving children of education and food. We want that. I want my taxes to go to Medicare. I want my taxes to go to children being fed. I want my taxes to go to children being educated. That's where I want my taxes to go. Not fear-mongering or war or supporting the destruction of Gaza, all that shit. And Mark hit it on the head. To be clear, that it's not about children. And, you know, that's the thing it is. It's not really about kids for them. Mark is right. It's not about children for them. It's about inserting the white Christian nationalist heteronormativity. It's the cis-het Christo-nationalist way. That's all they want. In their minds, everybody should be having a normal marriage with children, and that's it. That's not going to work. People can't fit into that box. The people that don't fit into that box don't necessarily hate children and want them to suffer. Yeah, I want to support kids. I want them to actually get a fucking education and not be homeschooled or go to fancy charter schools by rich Christian assholes like you.
This is not, people are focusing so much on the sarcasm and not on the substance of what I actually said. And the substance of what I said, Megan, I'm sorry, it's true.
Let's say Roe versus Wade is overruled. Ohio bans abortion, in 2022 or let's say 2024. And then, every day George Soros sends a 747 to Columbus load up disproportionately black women to get them to go have abortions in California. And of course,
what the fuck is he talking about? And he wonders why people call him weird. Oh, George Soros has airplanes to fly and fund black women to go get abortion. What the fuck? And you expect us not to think that that's weird?
Left will celebrate this as a victory for diversity. That's kind of creepy.
Health justice is when we exterminate working class black people.
Something like that could, that would be a really weird turn of events that could happen, yes.
And it's like, if that happens, do you need some federal response to prevent it from happening? Because it's really creepy.
So according to him, it's creepy to help women travel across state lines to get health care that they need, but it's not creepy to create a federal task force to literally track down women who cross state lines to get abortions and then punish them for it.
Why do these women have to cross state borders to begin with? Oh, gee, I don't know, because the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
That's weird. He wants to control what people can and can't do with their own fucking bodies, and he's hyper-focused on fertility and the fertility of women and arguing that women without children have less self-worth. And I'm sorry, that right there, that's turning off normal people. That's why this attack about him being weird it resonates with so many people because he's just fucking weird. Even Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports, who's a Republican, was outraged in response to an old video of JD Vance recommending a tax increase on childless people, and he called it idiotic, rightfully so. And on top of that, here's what Republican Tommy Loren said about...
Wait, what did Dave Portnoy say? Dave Portnoy said, "This is fucking idiotic. You want me to pay more taxes to take care of other people's kids? We sure this dude is a Republican? Sounds like a moron. If you can't afford a big family, don't have a ton of kids." I don't like Dave Portnoy. He's a piece of shit, but I gotta agree with that. Just the last sentence. If you can't afford a big family, don't have a ton of kids. Why are other people having to revoke their rights and pay more taxes just because you decided to have 8 fucking children?
Idiotic, rightfully so. And on top of that, here's what Republican Tommy Loren said about his childless cat lady comment.
Don't get too comfortable on the Trump side, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this later, but the attacks on her personally, on whatever her past personally may have been, or calling her a childless lady, none of those are going to work, and they're going to make women second guess their support for what they may have felt for Donald Trump. Bad move.
Ooh, there are a lot of strong points in that for a Republican.
Yeah, suddenly a bunch of women who used to be for Trump suddenly don't want their pussies grabbed anymore.
I mean, depending on how much you love Donald Trump and do or don't like his VP pick, some of that was for JD Vance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for everyone.
Imagine all the because I'm sure there's I'm sure there's enough, but imagine the childless cat ladies that are for Trump who were like, what the fuck?
Dumb. It just doesn't work on Republican women or liberal women.
Listen, I never thought that I'd say this, but Tommy Loren is absolutely correct. What he says, his childless cat lady comment, among other comments he's made, his hyperfixation on what people choose to do or not do with their own bodies, that is a turnoff not just to women, but men as well. Not just a turnoff to Democrats, but Republicans as well. Most normal people don't understand why anyone else would be obsessed with what other people choose to do with their own lives. And that's why the weird attack goes so hard, because it's instinctive.
It's true. And even in cases with trans issues, most Americans don't think about that stuff. They don't think about kids being trans or not trans. They don't think about people in bathrooms. They don't care. I've seen plenty of trans women living in the Southern America who say they get mammed all day at bars, grocery stores, and things like that. People don't care. Now, obviously, I know there's a bunch of crazy people who are targeting trans people and even in public, and those are the weird, crazy Trump people. Those are the weird people who have to police the bathrooms, who have to point at you and say, hey, you don't look like a woman enough, get out of here. Those are the weird people harassing people in bathrooms. It's weird. Normal people don't care. They don't ask. They might wonder, they might think to themselves, I wonder if that's a man or a woman. I don't know what that is. But they don't sit and make a spectacle of it, and they don't care about having laws and legislation about it either.
True, but also substantive. And it's caught on so quickly that both Fox News and MSNBC have put together compilations of people calling JD Vance weird. And spoiler alert, there's been a lot of fucking people calling him weird because a lot of people can see the dude's really weird.
You know there's something wrong with people when they talk about freedom to be in your bedroom, freedom to be in your exam room, freedom to tell your kids what they can read. That stuff is weird. They come across weird. They seem obsessed with this.
We're using this fake living room to talk to you about a super weird idea from JD Vance.
Yeah, it's not.
Professional news outlets are talking about the couch joke, the couch rumor. I don't think you all realize how fucking powerful this is. It's so wonderful. It brings me such joy to see this much hammering down on this stupid rumor that JD Vance fucks couches. It brings me so much joy, seriously. The fact that he has to him and his team have to make it a professional announcement, like an official announcement, that he does not do that. It's just, I love it. This whole weird campaign is working. And honestly, I'm 100% behind it. Like, even as a Neogenian, call these people weird. They're weird. This is weird. This is so counter to what is supposed to be the evolution and the actualization of humanity. This is so unteleocratic. It's weird. They are weird. Call it out as it is. These people are weird.
I mean, it's quite weird. But what was weird was him joking about racism today and then talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?
Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew? I think I said this like last week or the week before. The fact that JD Vance drinks Diet Mountain Dew, immediate sus. Immediately don't vote for him because he drinks that shit.
On the other side, they're just weird. I mean, they really are.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
It's not just a weird style that he brings. It's that this leads to weird policies.
That is weird behavior.
More extreme, more weird, more erratic. I mean, on the other side, they're just weird.
The 32 ounces of weird.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate. And by the way, they are weird. It is bizarre. It's weird. It is weird.
JD Vance, just dumb Vance, is pretty weird.
I think Kamala Harris is going to pick anyone as weird and creepy as JD Vance.
It demonstrates and shows us exactly what he believes in by selecting a JD Vance, who is quite, as the campaign said, weird.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of stuck because he's really fucking weird. And
I'm a full proponent of this. I'm a huge proponent of just calling these people weird. Because they are. And it's ironic because they constantly accuse anybody who opposes them as weird. And it's not working anymore. Lo and behold, you are not normal people. You're just strange. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Part of the reason why this attack is so genius is because it's non-falsifiable and there's really no proper way to respond to it. At best, you can just say, I'm not weird, you're weird, which is kind of what they're doing. But if you try to say he's not weird and explain why he's not weird, you're just reminding people that a lot of other people think that he's weird, which you wouldn't have to do if they didn't think he was weird in the first place. So there's really no way to win in this situation. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think the best thing to do is to just ignore it, but they're not. They're Streisand affecting it, and even Vance himself is trying to know you, Kamala Harris, and say...
So when he says Streisand effect, the Streisand effect is... it has to do with Barbra Streisand, like back in the day. There was an allegation that was put out about her that was so, I don't know if it was benign or not, but it was like kind of insignificant to the point where like if she had ignored it, it would have gone away, but she didn't. She decided to like legally pursue it and like publicly pursue it to the point where it blew it up out of proportion and made it a much worse situation than not. So it's like everybody's calling Vance and Trump weird and Republicans weird and Christo-fascist weird, but instead of ignoring it, they're addressing it, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like they can't get out of looking weird by talking about how they're not weird. In fact, the more they try to defend that they're not weird, the more weird they look.
Actually, no, she's weird. But I mean, no, I'm sorry. That clip, you can say of her, people might not get it. They would think that maybe she is out of touch, per se, if they don't understand why she would share her pronouns. But it doesn't scream weird. Whereas all the things that you've said about women's reproductive health and their fertility, that is really fucking weird. But we've also seen this response from Republicans and the weirdest people in the country to counter these claims that JD Vance and Republicans like him are weird. And they're saying, I'm not weird. Democrats are weird because they love drag queens and whatnot. That's what Matt Walsh said. But I mean, this is a guy.
Yo, you could... drag queens and queer people no, they're weird. Okay. Here's the difference here. This is like the good expressive weird that we all know we are, you know, as like LGBTQ or whatever, or you know, liberal people. I'm not liberal or whatever that is, but like, you know what I'm saying. But it's the fact that these Republicans are saying we're the normal ones. That's where they become the joke. You're not normal. The definition of normal is great anyways, but if we're going to talk in terms of that, it's like, you're not normal either, but it's like, we're not denying that we're odd. You're the gross kind of odd. You're kind of, they're like the weird icky, like they're the icky weird, where it's like, we're like the creative theater kid weird. You know what I mean?
Who has videos of him talking about the fertility of young girls. That's not normal. So again, the weirdest people in the country are trying to say, actually, JD Vance is not weird. I vouch for him, fellow weird person. But what's funny is that in response, you have people showing.
Oh, it makes me think of the people who are against trans care, who claim that like children are being butchered, and they talk about, like, I've seen this before where they talk about like young trans men who they see as girls who are just simply like chopping off their breast, and they're like, their breasts, they're beautiful, gorgeous, young, like little girl breast. We're so concerned about it. And it's like, are you guys not realizing that you're talking about like little kids' boobs, like little kids' chests? Like, you don't think that's weird? Because trans people aren't doing that. Trans people aren't obsessing over little kids' genitals. They're not thinking about that. Like, every individual trans person is thinking about their own body, but it's like, we're not talking about that shit. Why are you focusing on that? That makes you weird because you're so quote unquote concerned over children's bodies. It makes you look gross and disgusting. Like, LGBTQ people don't do that. We don't think about that way. Like, we don't do that. Why are you? And then telling us we're weird. Look how weird this is over these little kids' bodies. Like, isn't that weird? It's like, no, we're not talking about that. Why are you talking about that?
Why everybody else thinks that they're weird. For example, this person showed a photograph of Marjorie Greene consoling someone who was pretending to be a January 6th insurrectionist. I mean, this is not normal behavior. When normal people see this, they think it's culty and they think it's weird. Then there's also MAGA rapper Forgiato Blow, who was recently featured at the RNC, and for some reason...
Oh my god, I'm sorry, what? So this guy, who's a Trumper, is posting a picture with this. I don't know what the fuck that is. That is literally the essence of my nightmares. But we're not supposed to think that's weird. We're supposed to think this is normal and this is how people should be. What?
There's a picture of him with a literal Trump sex doll, mouth open and all, ready to be fucked, which is so disturbing and weird. And it's creepy. Normal people don't have sex dolls of politicians that they support, right? So it's a political cult, and these people aren't just in a cult. They want to control every aspect of our lives. So they're just weird. That's why this attack slaps so fucking hard. Now, I don't really know where this attack originated, but one of the first people that I heard use it was Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who I hope Kamala chooses as her running mate. And I want to show you what he...
Tim Walz is good. I wouldn't mind Tim Walz.
JD Vance. And I think that the way that he says it, this right here is the perfect, compliment to this whole weird attack on JD Vance and Trump. So let's listen.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are. So it isn't much else.
Thank you. I want more politicians like this. I want more. I don't care if you're a country dude. I don't care if you're a white cis man and you're a countryman and you like trucks and farming and gardening and kissing your wife. Like, I don't fucking care if you want to have a family of 5, but to just like imprint that and say that everybody else should be doing that same thing is like, it is fucking weird. I like good country folk. Okay? Those are my people. I love country folk. I live out in the country, okay? I'm a country boy. I don't live in a big city.
Don't give them the power. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes. They're going to do all that. But don't lift these guys up like they're sometimes the heroes. Everybody in this room knows, I know it as a teacher, a bully has no self-confidence. A bully has no strength. They have nothing.
Elise, I'm sorry. I think we've traumatized Elise. I think Elise needs to lie down for a minute. Elise is like, I'm done. I'm lying down.
Fascists depend on fear. The fascists depend on us going back. But we're not afraid of weird people. We're a little bit creeped out, but we're not afraid.
And that is the heart. That where he said right now, we're not afraid of weird people. We're creeped out, but we're not afraid. That's why this angle is so powerful. And that's why I personally want to lean into this. Calling them weird. Because it's not violent. It's not like angry attacking. And anger is good. Don't get me wrong. But this is such a more profoundly smart way to go about it. Call them out. Call it by the truth. Say they're weird. Calling them weird takes the power of fear away from them. Because it's saying to them, I'm not afraid of you. You're creepy, but like, I'm not afraid of you. Like, go away. I am a huge proponent of this angle. I think this is an appropriate angle to take with these people.
That right there is why I think this line of attack is caught on. Republicans are bullies. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, they are bullies, right? And we all know bullies lack self-confidence. They're usually bullying somebody else because they feel bad about themselves. I mean, look at how Donald Trump is obsessed with his own image. This is an old man who's still smearing orange on his face every single day. And I get that the whole orange mad bad thing, like that's an old trope, but it's still really weird. The fact that he unevenly applies tanner to his face, that's weird. It looks goofy. Not to mention,
I mean, we have this weird guy that's trying to run for president who's old, senile, and is still trying to look the same way he looked in 1989. Like, what the fuck is happening here? Elise is like, I need to light some sage. I know, right? Everybody exorcise the demons from your homes. I'm telling you.
Mention all the clips of him talking about how he was attracted to his daughter Ivanka. That is not normal behavior, right? And the most hilarious thing that proves the efficacy of this attack is that somebody claimed J.D. Vance fucked a couch in Hillbilly Elegy. It's not true, but people believed it because it just seems like something that he would do. Why? Because these people are fucking weird. Christian nationalist authoritarian types always try to dictate how other people live their lives because they themselves usually have some sort of skeleton in their closet. I mean, how many anti-abortion Republicans have been caught paying for the abortions of their mistresses? Right. How many anti-gay Republicans have been caught gargling cock behind closed doors? Right. I mean, this fixation on other people's behavior is usually a clue that they're projecting in some way. Every accusation is a confession, right? And it's about time that somebody pointed out the obvious. These people are fucking weird, and we're tired of these weirdos trying to dictate our lives. Now, what makes all of this even more funny to me is how Republicans are trying to respond. Here's one of my favorite examples.
I think of another thing that's weird. A party that claims to be the defenders of democracy launching a coup organized by a handful of party elites to oust their own leader. Yeah,
ma'am, you're weird.
Radical changes to our Supreme Court because you've been on a losing streak. Expecting Americans to want to join our military when you say things like this about the country.
Racism is real in America, and it has always been. Xenophobia is real in America, and always has been. Sexism too.
Wow. That their idea of what is weird falls short. In their minds, what Kamala just said right now is weird. Of course it's weird to them, because they're the fucking weirdos with the crazy ideas. That doesn't show that Kamala is weird. That's a very normal statement. Seems legit. as Doodle says. Shout out Doodle. But like, how is that weirder than JD Vance talking about childless cat ladies, trying to say like he doesn't fuck couch? Like, does Kamala Harris have to put out an official statement that she doesn't fuck couches? No. I'm not saying that's the only proof that these people are weird. I'm just trying to make a comparison.
And let's not forget one of the weirdest things of all. Spending hundreds of millions of dollars to redefine.
According to the Republicans, it's weird to identify and like identify and acknowledge racism and xenophobia in our own country. Wow, that's so weird. Sure, I'm sure it's weird to them where they don't fucking see that shit because they are the perpetuators of that shit.
And reimagine a Democrat nominee whose radical policies appeal only to the far left.
Nuh-uh, JD Vance isn't weird. Here's Kamala saying something I disagree with. Isn't that so weird? Isn't what she's saying weird when she says that racism has always existed? How weird. Hey, dumbass, it's not inherently weird if you disagree with what somebody is saying. Again, what...
Yeah, that's their whole thing. They're like, well, this is weird, but it's like not actually weird. It's just something they disagree with.
Makes JD Vance weird in particular is his obsession with reproductive choices that other people make. It's not just the fixation, but it's also the policy implications behind his obsession with other people's lives. That's not something that normal working class people care about. It's a weird niche thing that Christian nationalist fascists like him obsess about. So the weird attack is very clearly getting under their skin, and for the first time, Democrats are all united in saying the same exact thing, which is encouraging because we've all seen how Republicans can twist reality.
And this is where I have hope, and not because I'm Democrat. I'm not Democratic. I don't give a shit about the Democratic Party. I'm very vehemently anti-Trump, and for this moment in time itself, I just want to fucking get rid of him. That's just my own personal take, my own personal opinion. So I don't give a shit about Democrats. I don't consider myself Democratic. I am voting for Kamala, for sure. But I like the fact that Democrats are now united more than ever in this stance that these Republican extremists are weird. And even other Republicans are saying this is weird. Other Republicans are backing Kamala because they're like, this is like so beyond what we even fucking care about. The Republicans that are real conservatives, and to me, and I know that's so weird for me to say because like I'm not conservative, but I feel like there are genuinely Republicans that are the kind of conservative that isn't so like attacking of other people and how they live their lives. Like there's real conservatives who are like, we want to do this, that, and but they don't care what other people do with their lives as long as their family unit isn't, bothered. It's just when these Christo-fascists come in and say your family unit is under threat by these weird LGBTQ people, and those particular Republican conservatives are like, I'm not seeing it. Like, where's the people? Like, where are they? Like, I'm going to Walmart now to get my kids a toy and a snack. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, there are tons of Republican conservatives that don't care about, like, anti-trans legislation, that don't think about, what is it? Think, Jan. Anyways, let's continue this.
And make people think that things that aren't true are true. Like
NATO. Yeah, there's conservative Republicans. They don't care about anti-trans legislation. They don't give a shit about NATO. Like nobody. Like there's tons of American people. They're not going to bed praying to God, being like, "Thank God for NATO." Like no, like they don't fucking care.
Open borders, or that Biden is a communist, by just saying it over and over and over again. Repetition can turn something that's not true into a widely believed thing. So if Democrats do the same thing with this attack, that's actually true, by the way, then they can, for once, actually take control of the narrative and not let Republicans monopolize political discourse. And it's nice to see so much energy and hunger from Kamala Harris's team. You know, that's something that I wouldn't have expected, because I've just kind of become accustomed to Democrats, you know, taking the high road or doing the whole when they go low, we go high approach.
I like this guy who does the Humanist Report. I don't think he's Democratic or Republican. I don't know what I think he's a socialist. I'm not fucking sure. Like, I really don't know. But I do like his takes a lot. Like, if you haven't followed the Humanist Report, I think you should. He's not Neogenian by any means, but he has a lot of takes that align with us a lot.
Which has been a demonstrable failure. I mean, they're freaks. And it's time we stop playing nice with these fucking weirdos, okay? When you're up against fascists, you have to fight fire with fire. So I'm relieved to see Harris's team understands that, and I'm glad to see Democrats, for once, show some signs of life and attack these goons for what they're doing, for what they fight for what they believe in. We don't want to live in their Christian theocracy, and it's time that we call this what this is. Their movement is weird, and they need to know that we think they're weird. Normal people think that they're weird.
Yeah, I am a full proponent of the weird movement. Tell them they're weird. Call them weird. Say they're weird. Call it out like it is. Let's see. Republicans are weird. I'm going to look at some memes before we go to bed. Oh, Ramaswamy made a comment about this that was really funny. Of course. I mean, he's such a weird fucker himself. Like, totally so. So Ramaswamy says this whole "they're weird" argument from the Democrats is dumb and juvenile. This is a presidential election, not a high school prom queen contest. It's also a tad ironic coming from the party that preaches diversity and inclusion. Diversity and inclusion. Wow. Diversity and inclusion is so fucking weird, isn't it? Wow. Win a policy if you can, but cut the crap, please. See, the only accusations that these Republicans have of anybody else being weird is simply something they disagree with. They don't actually point out how opposing parties are weird. And everything they say is weird is like very benign. But Vivek Ramaswamy is like so fucking weird. Elon Musk said something too. Let me look it up. Where did he say it? Kamala's sexual behavior is weird. No, you're weird for talking about her sexual behavior. You don't even know anything about her sexual behavior. Where's this thing about people being weird? Oh, he's trying so hard to point everybody else as weird. Where is it? Maybe I can see it in images. He said something very particular about, like, people will be punished if they, like, call other people weird. Oh, Elon Musk did not vow to punish anyone calling Trump supporters weird. Didn't he, though? Yeah, I swear this was a direct quote from him. Weird is being used as a slur against Trump supporters, and it will not be tolerated on this platform. Trump supporters should not have to face ridicule for their beliefs. Any harassment of Trump supporters using the term weird will be punished. The tweet has widely been shared. This image is fake. Oh, let's see. No, but even if that is fake, Elon Musk, like, does iconically, yeah. Okay, so supposedly this is not him. However, Elon Musk iconically will favor the speech that he likes more than the speech he doesn't. For example, you cannot say the word cis, as in reference to, like, a cis man or a cis woman or cis people on Twitter. Like, he literally, like, banned that word, which is stupid because it's not, you know, it's not a derogatory word at all, but he decided it's a slur. Simultaneously, you can say the N-word at somebody, you can call somebody Jewish slurs, you can do all this stuff that, you know, he doesn't have a problem with. Because Elon Musk coins himself as, like, a free speech absolutist. Now, honestly, in my personal opinion, anybody who says they are a free speech absolutist is an asshole. They're not actually free speech absolutists. They're just assholes. They just want to say the N-word. They want to say the naughty words that they can't say. Otherwise, they would be fired from their jobs. Let's see, Republicans are weird. Let's see, Republicans, stop saying we're weird. Also Republicans. Okay.
Man would vote Democrat.
Oh, this, yeah. Republicans are weird. And we're talking about Jesse Waters here saying this shit. Yeah, Republicans aren't weird. Yeah, sure, check this out.
I don't see why any man would vote Democrat. It's not the party of virtue, security. It's not the party of strength. It's definitely not the party of family. And to be a man...
He's talking about men voting for Kamala Harris. Listen to this.
Now, I don't see why any man would vote Democrat. It's not the party of virtue, security. It's not the party of strength. It's definitely not the party of family. And to be a man and then vote for a woman just because she's a woman is either childish, that person has mommy issues, or they're just trying to be accepted by other women. And I heard the scientists say the other day that when a man votes for a woman, he actually transitions into a woman.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's what the science says.
Science says that.
All right, you heard it, fellas. You heard it, men of the chat. You heard it, men of this chat. If you vote for a woman, it's because, or if you vote for a woman, sorry, let me quote him correctly. Men, if you vote for a woman, you will transition to a woman. Congratulations, now you're trans. Welcome to the club. But hey, he's not weird. They're not weird. Let's see. MAGA Republicans are weird. Ugh. Trump boner garage? Ugh. Why are folks calling Republicans weird? The Heritage Foundation. It seems to me that a good place to start would be a feminist movement against the pill, and for returning consequentiality to sex. Conservatives have to lead the way in restoring sex to its true purpose. Yo, if your political movement is based on deciding what kind of sex people have or how they feel during sex, you're weird. That's weird. Let's see. Republicans being weird isn't weird at all, right? Yeah, this isn't weird. No, that's not weird at all. Yo, you could look at a leftist, like a blue-haired leftist. Like, yeah, you could say that's weird all you want. At least they know they're strange, but they're not weird in the fact that they're gonna tell other people what the fuck to do. I normally would not tweet something like this, but Republicans are truly very bizarre fucking people. Okay, here's this Republican saying there is likely a direct correlation between men who do this, 99% leftist men, and modern leftism. It is my suspicion that there is something in the vaginal fluids that is capable of estrogenizing the body, cuckolding the spirit, hence 1,000-year probation against it. Men who eat pussy are spiritual lesbians? What the fuck? Yo, dudes, men, if you munch a carpet, you're secretly a lesbian. What the fuck?
To the penis.
Yes. Yeah. Conservatives are so obsessed with kids' genitals, and it's weird. This is what I was talking about with the anti-trans legislature. Because anti-trans legislature, oddly and weirdly, focuses on children's genitals. Which is fucking weird. Like, listen to this guy. This guy who also read out loud that book, remember? With the sexual shit.
Forgive me for being so direct, but this is what the bill would do to the penis. Forgive me for being so direct, but this is what the bill would do to the penis. Forgive me for being so direct.
For the penis. Didn't it, like, Senator John Kennedy, like, was reading out that book? Which was, like, so out of line. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
This is the same Republican. I remember we covered this like ages ago.
Chairman, or whatever you want to call it, called "All Boys Aren't Blue," and I will quote from it. I put some lube on and got him on his knees, and I began to slide into him from behind. I pulled out of him and kissed him while he masturbated. He asked me to turn over while he slipped a condom on himself.
This man is at work in a professional environment reading an expert from a book that is meant for older teenagers who are questioning their sexuality to read. Older teenagers, and he's trying to say that this is presented to like little kids. This man, who's a Republican, weird conservative, weird Christo-fascist, is thinking that he is normal by reading this out loud in a professional work environment.
It was my ass, and I was struggling to imagine someone inside me. He got on top and slowly inserted himself into me. It was the worst pain I think I have ever felt in my life. Eventually, I felt a mix of pleasure with the pain. Close quote. All boys aren't blue. The second is another much discussed book. I'm sure you're familiar with.
Hey, but Republicans aren't weird. Yeah, Republicans aren't weird. All the fucking Republicans that after Trump's attempted assassination wore like patches on their ears. for the fuck of it.
Towards you, calling you weird. Does that hurt your feelings? How do you feel about
It does.
No.
No, Vance's feelings are fucking hurt. That's why he won't shut up about it. Let's see. MAGA Republicans are saying a lot of weird things. Monitoring girls' periods, banning books, coming for drag shows. That's weird. Trump is the weirdest of them all. Let's see. What is she saying right here?
But also, think about it. People on the right say a lot of weird things. When you think of like monitoring girls' periods, that's weird.
That's weird.
Banning books, coming for.
I don't remember who proposed that, but there was like one crazy Republican that was saying like we should monitor young girls' periods for like to make sure that they're actually girls and that kind of keeping track of when they're actually fertile and can be impregnated. Why would you talk about that? Why?
Drag shows. And by the way, if your kid's gay, they're already gay. Like, no one's turning them anything. So let them view whatever they want, you know. But also...
You know what? These, like, crazy Republicans always talk about how teachers and schools are pushing LGBTQ agenda in school. I read a big thread of teachers talking about this, and one teacher prosed the idea. One teacher was like, I cannot make a kid be gay or trans. And so this teacher asked other teachers if you could make your students do anything, if you could force a student to do anything, what would you actually force them to do? And 95% of the responses from those teachers was, I would force kids to wear deodorant because kids are smelly. I'm not even joking. All the teachers were like, if I could actually enforce anything, if I could force kids to do anything, if I could shove anything down their throat, it would be not to be fucking smelly. Like, that was it. Like, teachers don't give a shit about that.
Wrapping up the weird, Trump is kind of the weirdest of them all. Like, commenting on his daughter's looks and her sexual is weird. Having 24-karat gold apartment and your name in gold, and
There's
it's
something
weird.
wrong with that.
And burying your ex-wife on your golf course.
It's very weird.
It's weird.
It's a very weird
So that's
thing.
why that is effective. Is there's so much weird on the other side that pretty much sums it up.
Well,
that doesn't mean. Think about it.
Weird. They're all weird. All of them. All these people are weird. So join me on the weird movement. I think this is a very appropriate like thing to be a part of. It's not violent. We're not calling for violence. As a Neogenian, I would never do that. We don't do that as Neogenians. If you're Neogenian, you don't have to be Neogenian to participate in my chat, of course. But for those of you who are Neogenian in the chat, we're not all about political violence and all that shit. But this is something that works. Let's do this. Let's call people weird. Just call them weird. Call it out. Say it's weird. Repost their shit and say it's weird. Make comments. Tell them they're weird. Like, this is weird. These people are weird. I am all for this. This is working. Let's do it. Let's participate in that. I think that's a good thing. That's the only thing I feel safe in saying is like, call them weird. These people are weird. Okay. All right. It looks like, let's see, we're about 3 hours into the stream. I think that's enough. I think we get the point. Do we not all get the point that, like, these people are fucking weird? Right? Like, it's weird to be so unteleocratic like this. It's so weird to inhibit people from exploring their authentic selves. It's so weird to prevent people from actualizing and growing and evolving to the best versions of themselves. It is weird. I think this is appropriate. We should call these people weird. They're weird. It's weird. Trump is weird. Trump is a weird motherfucker. JD Vance is extra weird, and that doesn't fucking help. And the only things that those people say Democrats are weird for, I'm not Democrat. Neogenianism isn't Democrat. Neogenian isn't democratic, okay? That's not an association. But it's like, to call Democrats weird, like, the only things they have to point out that is weird on the Democratic side is stuff they just simply don't or stuff that they don't agree with, right? That's it. That's anti-Christian talk. Bet your ass it is. Bet your ass. Look, I'm all down for the groovy Christians. There are plenty of Christian people who are chill and they mind their business and they are all about like love Jesus and love you and that's great. Like, I'm all about those Christians. I don't hate all of Christians. I just hate Christian fascism. Christian fascism is got to go. And that is something that plenty of other regular Jesus-loving Christians agree with. They don't like this. They don't like the fascism. They don't like the nationalism that goes with Christianity. They don't like that. Like, we got to give those people some credit and not rope them up, you know? Like, I've seen a lot of progressive pastors say really good things, and even though they still believe in an external creator God, they say things where I'm like, I can get on board with this. Like, I like that, you know? So, anyways, today is Wednesday. I will not... Okay, pay attention right now, my lovelies. Pay attention before I let you go. I will not be live streaming for a while. Probably till next Friday. Not this Friday. I'm not going to be streaming next Wednesday. This Friday or next Wednesday. There might be the tiniest little chance I go live on Friday with our lovely moderator Cassie to do something extremely fun and just like relaxing. But don't count on that, okay? Like, it's literally just up to how we feel that night. Next Wednesday, there's going to be no stream. Next Friday is when I'll be back. Okay. So it's my vacation time. I'm going to go on a little vacation right now. I'm going to take a trip. Which is, you know, taking a trip is really good to do. Taking a vacation is really good to do every once in a while. Morgue. Morgue, take a vacation. And Cassie's like, I'm planning on feeling drunk that night. Yeah, we might. I had this idea that maybe if me and Cassie were up to feeling it, because Cassie will be in my home Friday night, we might, because we're going camping after Friday, we might live stream together. Cassie might guest on my live stream. This is just an idea floating around. We're not actually certain we're going to do this. But we were thinking of finding some scary stories on Reddit, and more specifically, summer camping stories. Like, scary stories involving, like, people going camping and having weird experiences. And then me and Cassie will sit and read them to you and have fun with that. And maybe do a little drinking game with it. Nothing too crazy. So that might happen. If you really want that to happen, I mean, like, let us know. Like, maybe that'll give us motivation. But we're not completely settled on it, but it could happen. If you want that to happen, like, let us know. If you want us to this Friday. So this Friday, if you would like us to sit and read you scary camping stories, let us know. So, anyways, I'm going to let you all go. Thank you. I love that. I love the universal sound, like the universal thing for, like, you got to get, like, if you're visiting somebody's house and, like, you got to go, you do that thing where you're like, well, it's been nice talking to you. You do the old, well, it's been great. don't be afraid to call those weird extremist Republicans weird. I know the world is really scary, and they have some power to fearmonger and be scary and stuff like that. But calling these people weird, I think is going to be really empowering, and I think it's the right move. It's not really politically violent at all. It's just, it kind of just like puts things into perspective, right? So anyways, call out the weirdness. Call out that weirdness. If it's weird, say it's weird. That's my after school special message. Anyways, good night, everybody. Take care. We'll see you when we see you. Okay? Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.